Hello everyone, Bill Parish here from GTT Audio, and welcome to the channel today. I can barely control my excitement. I mean, today is so exciting. Every day since last Thursday when I got this Kronos Discovery turntable, it's been overwhelming excitement. I've got 17,000 records that I have to re-listen to and rediscover. I guess that's why Louis named it Discovery. You really have to, it leads you down a path. It's unbelievable. Kronos Audio, the Pro, been reviewed upteen times, always takes best of show. Reviewers rated it the best of the best. It's just the late Harry Pearson went nuts over it. It was the last turntable he ever reviewed. It was so quiet. It redefined silence in records and in recordings. The Discovery takes it a whole other level. But before I go on, let me just say, this is, get it right out up front, one of the best source components I've ever heard. No, I'm not going to say that. One of the best source components. There's a double qualifier there. Let's just say it's the best source component I've ever heard. But that would not be enough. Again, qualifying it. Source component. No, this is the finest component I've ever heard. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Now, I certainly know at some point in the future I'll be saying this again. Maybe 40 years from now. That's how good this is. This thing, well, first of all, we've got the Kronos patented technology of a fully hung suspension with counter-rotating platters. We're using a Kronos innovation of a super cap power supply on a turntable. Kronos was the world's first to ever do that. I've gotten wind that there's some people out there attempting to copy that technology. Well, he didn't patent it. He patented the fully hung counter-rotating platters. There is nothing in this turntable that isn't new, that isn't rethought of with the Pro. I mean, the Pro was so incredible. And what Desjardins did is he looked at every single thing on the Pro and improved it. Found a better way of doing it. Changed the same type of bearings, but changed the material. Changed the material of these dog bones. Changed the suspension and their shape. Now we've got this beautiful readout up here. We used to have opto couplers that would read the platter. He's doing it a different way today. We've got well, this is pretty neat. So this just dims it and then shuts it off. I don't even know if the camera can pick this up. But 33, 45. And it's locked right on there. It's amazing. The Pro was never that quick. Now we get back down to 33. And there we are, 33 1/3, locked on. Here, so this is the Discovery supercapacitor power supply. Below that is the phono stage. Below that is the supercapacitor power supply. AC to DC converter. So this is an AC to DC converter, and this is a DC accumulator. And then all the way down below, we have the power supply for the phono stage. Excuse me here for a second. I got carried away and kicking stuff. The tone arms been changed. We now use it's still a unipivot, but before it was a ball, and now it's a conical. It's still a ball, but it's more conical shaped, much more reactive. It's labeled the Chronoscope, so it surpassed the Black Beauty. We've got the integrated stand if you choose to do that. All of this can be bought all a la carte. But together, sitting in my big room, I'm hearing something I've never heard before. And those that have heard the big room and have heard the Kronos, which I love to show off in the big room, well, you need to come back and hear this Kronos. This Discovery. So that when you remove noise, you pick up resolution. I don't care if it's a preamplifier, an amplifier, cables, cartridges, tone arbs, turntables. You remove noise, you pick up resolution. And again, the Kronos Pro, all the pros out there, all the professionals said it was the quietest turntable they had ever heard. It was the quietest turntable I've ever heard. I've had so many turntables. This is another level. This is another level. This turntable makes master tape sound noisy. I mean, you know, you tape aficionados out there have to admit you hear the tape hiss, you hear it going across the heads. I mean, don't deny that. You do hear it. You don't hear it with this. You do not hear it. It's quiet like the Mola Mola Tambaki, but it's analog, and we're playing analog files, i.e. records. Now, this is, like I said, he re-looked at the Pro, which is now probably 7 years old, and refined and redeveloped and found different technologies that weren't even, materials that weren't even around at the time of doing the Pro. And that's something also. I mean, even these dry bearings are sitting on top of cubic zirconia washers. Talk about slick. You know, some guys like to collect older turntables. And that's fine. But all those older turntables have a sound. It's not new technology. It's not new techniques. It's not new materials. It's old. You know, for example, like I used to collect, and I don't want to just pick on this, but idler wheel turntables. The EMT 927, 930, great turntables, but they sounded like hi-fi. They don't sound natural. They don't sound like real music. They do not sound like recordings. That sounds like an idler wheel turntable. So that's fine if you like that. But don't kid yourself that it can compete with something like this. Or some of these other systems from the 90s or early, the 90s or 80s or even the early 2000s that had, you know, control systems in there. This is an entirely new control system, and the one in the Pro was revolutionary. So don't think that those older, you know, this is a high-tech hobby and industry, and even though we're using these low-tech records, don't think that old technology can get all the sound out of these grooves. I mean, I believe Kronos has probably maximized it now. We're probably at the bottom of the grooves. First of all, I'm bowled over and blown away. I can't even fathom how much information is coming out of these grooves at this point. And to think that you could get more is just got to be impossible. And even look at this little clamp. I mean, talk about something that's... He's got ceramic balls in there, chrome balls in there, plexiglass, Delrin, stainless. Then it doesn't sit flat. It's got little, I don't know what it is, but even that has been thought of. Right down to the clamp, like I said, the control system, the way we read the platter. It's done over 60 times a minute, or not a minute, 60 times a revolution. One revolution, it's monitored 60 times. And we get the speed. Look at the smoke glass tubes. And if you don't like it when you're listening, you can turn it off. It's no problem. This tells about the charges of the supercharges. But Kronos is an innovator. This arm is so easy to set up. Azimuth, VTA, it's amazing. Anyway, enough of me sitting here gushing and gushing and gushing. Why don't we bring Louis Desjardins in and see what he's got to say? And here he is, everyone, Louis Desjardins. Louis, thank you for joining in here.
How are you doing, Bill?
I'm bowled over. I just shot, I don't know, a few minutes letting all the people on the channel know about how excited I am with this Kronos Discovery, your latest creation. And I'll tell you, I mean, you were probably already there, but with this one, I think you've firmly cemented yourself into the Turntable Builders Hall of Fame.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I'm telling you. I told everyone, I mean, you know, hopefully outside of my gushing, because that's all you can do when you listen to this bad boy. I mean, visually, it's a piece of art. It's a piece of work. I mean, when I got it assembled, yeah, there's some Instagram posts and some Facebook, but I also broadcast it out there to a bunch of people, and everything I got was good God, or, you know, holy moly, or it's gorgeous, or piece of art. And the aesthetic impact and response has been overwhelming, but the sonically, which they haven't had a chance to hear yet. So, and I told everyone how you went, and there's, I mean, give us 5 minutes of how you went down this path, because I know that, I mean, Pro, you could have retired with Pro, but no, you push everything to the limits, and there's not a single thing in Pro that you didn't change. You built upon it. It's got the same basic core design, but everything's been improved. Talk to me about that for a little bit.
Well, you know, we had talked about this, you and I, you know, because we were starting to get closer to the end of the limited edition on Pro, which was 250. You know, we just have a few units left over from that, and so it was, you know, it was 10 years in, and so you know, I'm thinking we have to do something, but the kind of like stall that I had in my mind is that I didn't want to do something just to do a change of styling, which that would have been easy enough. I really wanted this to create a better sound, a newer sound, you know, like a more neutral sound, more dynamic, more true to the music. And it's not like anybody was really asking about that on Pro. You were telling me, you know, if it's going to be the same thing, what's the point? Two tone arms, who cares? You know, which I agree, it's a convenience, but it's not a reason to do something. You know, new.
Yeah, I didn't even bring that up. There's you can use two tone arms on the Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's to me as a convenience, it's great, but it's like I said, it's not really a motivator.
right.
So, for me, I mean, greater sound is the big motivator. So y- I we started working on chassis issues with the phono and with the rack system I've developed. And then it dawned on me that maybe I could apply this to the turntable chassis, which I did. You came over to Montreal, you heard just what the chassis difference was,
Oh, it was huge.
and it was a breakthrough, really. And from then on, everything fell into place, you know. And having lived with the Pro for 10 years, uh, we've always improved things, but I always had the feeling that if we were to start afresh, there's a few things we could address, make better, start anew. Like the control system is a completely new system, developed from scratch. The power supply to the turntable is also a new thing developed from scratch. The So everything's evolved. The tone arm, the chronoscope tone arm, Andre Theriault and I sat down and discussed what could be improved on terms of ergonomics or ease of use and setup. But it went much further than that in terms of the new monocoque construction against chassis design of the tone arm, which really brings superior sound. And doing all these things, after a while, all these improvements add up, and you end up in a place where you didn't think you could go before. You didn't think there was that I always say gold at the bottom of the grooves. I mean,
Hmm.
and when you hear it, you say, "Oh my God, the limitations that we thought were in the medium are really not there." And that's really great news because people are heavily invested in their record collections. There's never been a better medium to store music. And to be able to get more of that music out, the return is fantastic. It's very profitable for the audiophile to be able to hear more from what they already have. And this is the excitement. I'm also super excited because coming out of the pandemic, we're not quite out yet, but we have something to share with people, and it's going to be really a lot of fun traveling and meeting people and having them hear this result.
Well, you're definitely a smile maker. I mean, you're selling a pleasure machine here. I mean, you just sit down and it overwhelms you with sound. I don't know what we talked about a lot of things. We always do. I don't know whatever gave it the name Discovery. You just very early on told me that it was going to be called Discovery. And, I take that as me. I have 17,500 records and I've got to rediscover them all. So I don't know what you were thinking there.
Well, that's precisely it. But also, when I talked about the exoskeleton, the new chassis, this was a discovery. Knowing that it could go so far. And so, as I was saying in the beginning, I didn't want to do just a restyling. I wanted to actually improve things on the engineering and sound level. And that exoskeleton was the discovery, the initial discovery. And then it also applies to the fact that you do rediscover your record collection, and also you rediscover how advanced sound reproduction is. And finally, it's got a little bit of a spaceship style, and that kind of fit. So I think it's kind of like a word that hits a lot of nails on the head.
Awesome. Well, Louis, thank you so much for joining in. Couldn't do a video on this new discovery without having you here, at least virtually and through video. Yeah, we'll sit down and we'll do one in person as soon as Montreal opens up.
Well, Bill, it's always a pleasure, and you're the smile that it puts on your face is the reason I do this, and I also want to share that with as many customers as Kronos owners as possible, and new people joining our family. So, to all, welcome and welcome to Discovery.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Bill.
Bye.
Well, and there you have it, folks. It was great having Louie visit. You've got to hear this. Make an appointment. Come in. Call one of the Kronos dealers. If you don't know if there's one in your area, give me a call. I'll steer you to the right place. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share. Feel free to comment below, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.